It says we are live.
We
Hi, Adrian.
Hi Kelly.
So, welcome everyone. This is my first episode of what hopefully will be many. Adrian was so kind to be my first guest of Confronting Our Demons, where I invite somebody on that is some sort of an opposite to me. And I'm starting with the objective personality system with the animals, right? In objective personality, the savior animals and functions are called saviors and demons. And so I'm inviting people on whose savior animals are my demons and vice versa. Um, and so, yeah, I'm looking to have a really good conversation. I don't necessarily think we're going to not jive well. I don't think that it's going to be like, I think it's actually going to click. But either way, I hope we learn something.
Absolutely.
What do
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah, I think it's gonna go fine. I think we've when we're on VCs and Discord we jive pretty well. So yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think the specific type is gonna be too much of a problem.
right, exactly. And speaking of which, since it is my show, I'm going to do the typical blaster lesson. I know we talked about this, right?
hmm
So I'm pulling up on the screen here. Can you see it,
Yeah,
Adrian?
I can see it.
Cool. Awesome. So I've put together a comparison of my type and Adrian's type. Oh, and you updated your name there. So it was there. Oh, thank you.
hmm
Um, this is that cool tool that Tom made that it shows us how to, see it visually. But then I also put together like a little chart. So I'm double masculine FESI, blast, sleep, play, consume, and Adrian's double feminine SETE, play, consume, sleep, blast. So right off the bat, I'm double masculine, Adrian's double feminine, and it happens to be our saviors. That doesn't happen all the time for everyone. You and I both have our saviors as our modalities with the sensory and the extroverted decider,
Yeah, so yeah, that is pretty rare, but it
right?
just means yeah, I guess there's an emphasis, I guess, in a way, since it is in
Yeah.
our saviors.
Right? Yeah, maybe there's not that like, oh, my saviors are this, but then I have my masculines over here. Um, However, both of our modalities, right, that's what I said. Another thing is I'm a single decider, you're a single observer. So that'll be interesting. The math suggests that you'll be more comfortable with people and I'll be more comfortable with things, right?
hmm
Um, and more specifically, an EJ, which is self over tribe decider, and you're an EP, which is a chaos over control observer. Or so the math says, right? Our quadras, I'm in the alpha quadra, you're in the gamma quadra, which is completely opposite, right? So all of your introverted functions are my extroverted functions and vice versa, which is pretty cool.
Yep, yep.
Um and we're both savior DE, so we're both savior tribe. But mine is feeling and yours is thinking. Um yeah, I had mentioned that we were in opposite quadras. Um, I put down a note here that I hypothesized that we may hit a groove since we're flipped on so many other things, but I think we might click and vibe well because I think like where your consume and my blast is, like it'll sort of maybe you kind of end up fitting together.
Okay, yeah, like the opposites, attract, or like this that matching,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then my double activated animal is blast because I have consume. I'm missing consume, right? And you're exactly the opposite. You're missing blast, and so you're double activated on your consume. Um, and our I so one thing I did, and I was saying it as double activated um, function, but you had reminded me that that actually goes down to the third animal. Um, so the function that I use in both of my savior animals is SI, and the function you use in both of your savior animals is SE.
Correct. Yep.
So I'm curious about how, like, one of the things I'd like to talk about is at some point is how much you use or you feel like intuition is part of your life. Because I know it's strange that SI is what's in my savior animals as far as observers. Do you have any
Yeah.
thoughts about that?
Yeah. So yeah, intuition. So obviously it's a demon. It's my missing function basically. Because both my sleep and my blast have the NI, but they're both demons.
Right.
And so I still feel like I'm able to be aware of it, like pretty young,
Mm-hmm.
especially because it's masculine.
Mm.
But I do try to focus on, let's say, long-term planning in a way. I do care about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just that it's very difficult for me to like succeed in that.
Right.
um, yeah, but it's still like something that's important to me, and so like let's say with my school, like I kind of did narrow it down as I wanted to say, okay, I want to go into this specific field, and this is what I want to do with my life, like long term, not like for the next year, but like for the next 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's where the NI can come in, but it's just because it's a demon, it's not as like flourished, especially because I'm an observer demon. It's not as flourished as, let's
Oh,
say,
right, right. Because
a
it's
double
really
observer.
far down there, right?
Yeah, as a
Yeah,
double
yeah, yeah.
observer. Mm,
Yeah, I okay, so maybe that's why maybe more I feel like I was very surprised. I was like, "What do you mean?" Um, using SI, like I have don't have intuition anywhere in my saviors. It's probably
mm.
that double observing thing that I've got going on. Um, so that'll be interesting. Maybe you're even better at self than I am. Um, Speaking of which, what I think is really interesting is even though you're feminine on your modality of your extroverted decider, since it's thinking, we're both masculine feeling and
Yeah.
feminine thinking. Um, so that'll be really interesting. I wonder, they say like, well, get there in a second. I'm gonna jump to the uh where is it? The sleep, right? You're the double masculine. Your
Okay.
double masculines on your sleep, right? And hasn't the community a lot been talking about how there's double masculine sleep can just come out of nowhere? do you
Again.
do you feel that? Do you have like this when you're really when something is in your box, like it's very solid in your box and you'll fight for it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even just like in like my this daily life, I can see myself narrowing down even as an EP, like going to like the same like 1 2 restaurants, going to like if I go to the library, I sit at like the same spot or whatever. Like I do kind of want to create like a certain box for myself, in terms of consistency. But then with double masculine sleep, definitely it's like when I'm really deep into like my FI and I really want to get something done and I really want to make sure that there are results. Everything around me can kind of zones out and I kind of forget everything around me because I do want to focus on the specific thing and I like it really just feel like it's just like just me and like this by myself. Um,
Mhm.
with like just this very strong like urge to like succeed and to, like ignore the distractions around me.
Right, right. How does that get activated, dude? And how does it how do you make it happen then?
Yeah, I'd say probably like if the FI is triggered, it's just kind of like maybe I'm not doing so well in certain thing, and I want to and it's actually getting to me emotionally. Like I don't
Mm.
like where this is going. Then like that I guess that anger kind of like turns into like motivation.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so. then
Mhm.
it's stronger. It's much easier for me to push myself and get like a more like the FI drive, this motivation.
Yeah, so do you find that you like do you find that it's difficult to have motivation when you're not angry?
Yeah, yeah, I can, especially like as blast last. But I would say that I think yeah, the SC is just it's constantly thinking about just like different things to consume and different possibilities, but it's not necessarily thinking of like an end goal. So
Yeah,
in that way, I can feel like I can get easily distracted with things like in the play and to consume.
right.
Um, and so it is with that, like I guess you could call it anger or just that inner drive that I do. That's when I do need to narrow it down, or I want to narrow it down. But if
Right,
I don't
right.
have
It
that,
just
yeah, it's
literally starts piling up, right? Like what they talk
yeah,
about, right?
yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. All right. I'm gonna try to I hadn't necessarily planned on I thought this was going to be like a quick blaster lesson, but then I made it a conversation. So it's good though. I'm getting
Yeah.
you talking.
True. Yeah, I got a blast too.
Yeah. Um, so our animal energy, right, with you with the blast last, right? Like even though you're play first, you're one of those play first but blast last. So like you've got that double introverted animal in the center. So you're likely gonna come across as more introverted.
hmm
Um versus I guess this is more like a little bit ambiverted. I've always felt like an introvert, but people always tell me that I come across as an extrovert. What do people like? What have you always felt your life, and what have people like said that you come across as?
Yeah, I've always seen myself as an ambivert.
Mm,
Um, a little bit more of like an introverted ambivert, but still like a little bit
mm-hmm,
of both. But I think most people see me as an introvert unless I'm doing something that unless I'm in my play zone, I guess, in my play moment, which is like let's say maybe at a party, um,
mm-hmm.
like I'll become more extroverted in those certain cases. Like let's say if there's dancing involved or if there's just extroverted events going around. But yeah, most of my friends know that like after once that's over and like we're just hanging out casually, I'm more on the introverted side.
Mm, mm-hmm. Yeah, so like you'll go out, you'll dance, and then what? You'll just like listen and kind of like sit and listen to everybody's stories. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Go right into that consume, right?
Hmm. And if
Um,
I'm lucky, maybe that's sleep.
right, right. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite animal?
Ooh. I would probably say the sleep.
Really?
Yeah, I think I like it because I feel like it's gonna help the most in my growth because
Mm.
it's not too hard to get to like the blast, but it's still a demon. So I know if I can improve that and master it, I've also like huge leaps in my growth and my journey.
Oh, okay. That was a really good answer because I was going to say my favorite animal is sleep too, but
Hey, yeah.
you are an evolved creature.
Thank you.
uh, yeah. More evolved than I. Okay. So then, right, we talked about the double masculine NF sleep, and I've got the double masculine SF blast, which I know how that can come across sometimes and on a bad day. Um, but I found sometimes it can come across as like really succinctly putting something a certain way. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if any of your double masculine and F sleep comes out today.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. I do
you
want to
lead,
say I
huh?
do love the SF blasters, at least on the dock.
Oh, you
'Cause,
do?
yeah, they just have a really good way of presenting information that's like helps in like in reality, and
Mm,
they do it in a very presentable way. Like I guess with the FE is like it's not boring. It's very interesting to learn about. They have a very presentable face and atmosphere, and so I really like
Oh.
the kind of blasting.
Oh, good. That's good to hear. I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely I like to think that it's valuable practical advice. Which is what the math would say that it is. Yeah, so and my double activation and my savior is SF, and you've got your savior ST, but then your double activated animal is also SF. So I wonder if that's also why you like the SF blasters. What yeah, because you're SF consume. I wonder if that plays a part into how much you like the SF blasters or
Maybe.
consuming their content.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I do know like there are other people in my quadra that just like enjoy different types of quadras kind of blast. I think
Mm,
some like the NT blast, other people like the ST blast. So I wouldn't say it's too consistent. It really depends on the person. But
mm,
yeah, at least
not
for me, yeah, I
not a
really
rule,
appreciate.
but it's for you. For it just
Hmm.
happens to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll say here is that in our animal setups, right? Like, so we've got that SF and the ST up top, and then both of us are third animal, even though mine's play and yours is sleep. Our third animal is NF. So,
Yeah.
like, they call that the hobby animal, and both of us have that as NF. So, I'm interested to see if we end up talking like, can I find in the spectrum of all of the NF, can I find that one little thing that sort of like lets you spill your guts on your NF?
Yeah. I have the most introverted type of NF, but yeah, it's definitely difficult to explain like what my NF or like explain like what's happening with my NF, I guess. But
Right?
it
Yeah.
is I think it's just like it's often like this very inner like emotional drive, I think a lot of the times. At least that's what I'm seeing, especially with people like David Goggins and um oh, I'm blanking on the name.
Um,
But yeah.
what is it? Is it Darren Brown? Is that one that they always talk about being very NF blast?
Oh he's a blaster. Yeah. I was thinking of the NF sleeps.
Oh, the NF sleeps.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember any of the NF sleeps are.
Yeah, but people like David Goggins and they definitely have that this very inspirational like inner drive to push themselves and like reach the top. So
Right, right, right. Yeah, and then we both got that NT at the bottom, which I love NT. I think I love I love a puzzle. I always have. Um anyway, so let's start talking. Let's just start talking. There was my little like non-blaster lesson apparently. That was just my way of starting a conversation.
it was pretty
Um
blasty. It's just that I turned it into a play conversation too.
yes, yes. Add some chaos into my life.
Hmm.
I need it. Yeah, so that's what it's about. So I'm curious what made you agree to do the interview with me?
Oh, I was just curious. I knew that you were starting this channel, or I guess you have some videos from earlier, but this
Couple.
series, and so I was like, yeah, we definitely have opposite types, so it'd be really interesting to see like what we're each missing in each other, and like if I could help you out with your demons, you can help me out with my demons, and just to get some more awareness of like what we're missing.
Right? Right? What has been your biggest like struggle or your pattern or like and have you noticed it even before you got your type or before you were into any type any personality stuff?
Hmm. Well, definitely my biggest problem, in my opinion, probably be my demon blast, and that was
Mm,
something I was pretty aware of before I knew about typology, even if I didn't know the specific terminology.
yeah.
Um, but I would, yeah, organizing, like, I guess, a future, or having a plan for the future. That's definitely difficult for me. And then just with the sleep and the blast two together, I'd say just like really mastering the OI is definitely difficult, because in my mind, there's so many different options, and I'm constantly seeing how things like ping together in different ways,
Yeah.
instead of trying to find a way to like just find a consistent line for me to stay with.
Well, like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, what's the, I guess they call it the forever fear, but like, what would happen if, like, you didn't, if you ended up picking a goal and going towards it? Like,
Yeah.
what would go wrong?
Okay. Yeah, I think yeah, for my type, the fears, one of them is that like, especially with single observers, is like if I pick the wrong option, then I'm stuck in the option, and if it's a bad option, then I'm stuck in that bad option.
Mm.
So let's say a career wise, let's say I choose a career, and it actually ends up not being the one I wanted, then like, then I'm stuck there, like without many options. And so like the OE wants to find as many options as possible, and like, so that they're not trapped in a specific spot.
Why
But
would you be trapped?
um it's a good question. I think it's just the natural fears. I guess I don't know if it's like I think, yeah, I think it's just something that like the mind wants to think about. Like, obviously, if I can like rest my mind a little bit, and like, for a little bit, then I can hear the different options, or like I can figure out how to double observe in a way.
Mm.
But it's still stressful, because especially because like with time, you can't really go back. So in that kind of series, like, because there's something that's immovable with time, it is importance in choosing options wisely.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, like, let's give me a good sense or example of like something that's happening in your life right now, that like, are you going towards a goal right now, or are you finding yourself not going towards a goal?
Right now I am. I did a lot of sleep processing, actually, these past like 4 months, because I am in school right now for computer science,
Mm.
and yeah, I didn't take too many classes this semester, and it's like my first time in like my new apartment. So actually it did help me kind of like, it gave me some time to sleep process, because I didn't really have that much of a play environment to like do different things. Like, I was just
Mhm.
I had some time for myself. So with computer science, I do want to choose yeah, like I want to go into like internships and a career eventually that I would find, I guess, meaningful, and significant. And what the blast last focuses on, or just being savior consumers, like perfectionist, being so. I do like struggle to like pick the internship or the specific thing I need to do, because I do want it to be like the perfect option. And so I'm like,
Mm.
I'm
Because
I'm
if it's
willing I'm willing to like not rush in order to pick the perfect option, but in
because
that way, like, I could stall.
if it's not the perfect option, I understand you can't go back in time. Or have you missed all? Do you feel like all of the trains are leaving the station at the same time, and if you get off that train, you don't have the opportunity to get on another one? Like, you're done. You have to actually walk back to the train station to catch another train.
Yeah, yeah, in a way. Yeah, I think that's true. I think like just naturally my brain thinks like this. There's so much power in like in consuming, learning, or even you could even call it like stalling, in order to like like so that when you actually get into the train, like you're the most prepared out of everyone there.
Mm.
Um, Instead of like just halfway prepared, which is not realistic at all, obviously. Like
It's not realistic to be halfway prepared, or it's not realistic to be all the way prepared?
to be all the way prepared in anything.
Yeah.
Like what everyone starts something, they start off like not being the master of that field. It's just naturally what I think, especially like consume saviors really
Right.
want.
What
Um,
if that experience, right? What if that bad internship that you chose was actually one of your consume steps? Like
mm,
like what if that wasn't the goal? What if that was actually just one of the things that you were consuming? Let me get some more information about this internship scenario.
yeah. Um, that would work. I think also because like my masculine and I it wants to like stack like
Mm.
everything all the way. So it's like I know this step, this step, this step, this step, all the way down.
Mm,
And so it doesn't want to like just try like let's try it right here and like not keep going. So like
right,
yeah,
right. You
so
do have to step back down to step back up another thing. You can't use that experience as one of your SE gathered, pieces of
mhm,
information.
yeah, yeah.
That would be difficult to trick yourself.
Mhm. But I think yeah, one of the best options for me would probably just be to do better play or more play.
Yeah.
Um and then and consume sleep, like get all those collected together and then it'd be so much easier to blast. And so like just be open to listen to more perspectives. I'm like, hey, let me hear about someone who's already in that internship and what do they think about it. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, that's actually not as bad as I thought or whatever. And I think
Well,
that would be a good step.
what do you I have twofold question here. Um what do you want to bring to the world?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's the question I asked myself during my sleep processing phase.
Yeah.
But I would say like I would do want to bring but it's just what's like in my mind. It's just a lot of stuff. But it because like I'm OE is like it can be whatever. Because there's just so many different categories. But whatever I do learn, I want to I basically want to grow as a person, and then I want to teach people what I've learned as I've grown and what I've
Mm.
improved on. So,
Mhm.
like, especially with personality stuff, like if I can learn about my type and grow from there, I do want other people who maybe are similar type or just struggled with that. I do want to show them like what I did to get to where I'm at and how you can get there too.
Yeah.
So that's the vague answer. But then specifically, in terms of like very sensitive kind of things, I am into like video game development. That's kind of what I've learned. I've been trying to narrow down on.
Oh.
Mhm. So I would like try to like to put like deeper messages into like video games and
Oh.
yeah, if I could. And yeah, that's what I've locked on to. There's so many different areas. That's what that's no we, but that's kind of
Right, right, but that's one way you don't
Mhm.
necessarily have to be telling people about your things. You could be sort of working that into it. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love I love the idea of a video game having some underlying not like a message, but like something that you're experiencing within it,
Hmm.
right?
Exactly. Yeah. It could be a message too. Yeah. But there's
Right.
so many different video games that really do that really well. Um,
Right?
yeah. I
Which
played.
part of making video games do you like? Do you like the design of it? Did you like actually coding it? What do you like there?
Hmm. I really enjoy. I do enjoy the coding part of it. If I can get to the fundamental parts of it and like put like my image into it from like most fundamental level, that would be great. Um, but also just if I could do something with like what the characters say, or just like even just being like someone just has like a general idea of like this is how I want the entire video game to go. Like I want it to
Yeah.
start here and move on to this kind of arena and show this kind of message at this point. And I like that too.
Wow. And would you want to be like the person like in charge of putting the video game together, or you want to just be one of the people like physically making it, or both?
I think both. I think both
Both.
could happen. Yeah, like
Okay.
at one point. Yeah. Um,
Okay, fair enough.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. I like, yeah, that's why you need some practice, right, at the narrowing down, right? Because I could see you really like, you'd have to put some deadlines or something to that, man, because you could really like, oh, it's not quite done yet, it's not quite perfect yet, and you'd never release the darn thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, right.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Sometimes I feel like I have I can't think of any examples right like off the moment, but I feel like I've been burned so many times by putting my foot in my mouth because I like, you know, think I understand something. Like in sixth grade, even I argued with the teacher or a classmate about something that was in the textbook that I completely read completely wrong.
Uh,
And then everybody looked at me like I was a weirdo, and then I realized what it was. So, you know, there's got to be somewhere in the middle that makes sense.
mhm.
Where like
Yeah. Yeah. That
some
that's like
checks,
that's such a fear for like demon blasters to like speak something into existence that's like wrong, and it's like, oh my goodness, like that's like the worst possible thing that could happen. So we're always consuming so that we can like share the right information. Um,
right?
yeah.
But what's interesting is that like you still got play at the top there, right? So you do still have some relationship with the tribe, right?
Hmm.
So like I have found that people, for the most part, um, are kind when you get it wrong. If you are a kind person, like
Absolutely. Yeah.
right, like there's forgiveness there.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. 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 They won't beat you up too much. Especially like even if it's the worst thing possible. People move on. It's not going to haunt us forever.
right,
Yeah.
right.
I guess there is peace in that.
Um, One thing that we do have in common that I didn't go through before, um, is that we are both energy, Dom, right?
Mhm.
Apparently, with the consumer blast last. I was going to ask you, yeah, like when you go do the blasty thing, right? Like, how do you justify spending energy to do the thing? Like, is that also part of the problem? Is it's like, I can't like because for me with the consuming for me, right, like it's like I have to get the things done, like even when I go do it, I'm feel extremely guilty about it because I feel like I just have to go get the things done, like I'm not allowed, the whole I'm not allowed to thing, but
Mhm.
like I feel like I can't justify the energy that I need to do the consume thing. Do you feel similarly with the blast?
Yeah, I'd say similar to what I was saying earlier. Like, I can't get started if I haven't understood everything about it yet. Um, so like, yeah, even just like choosing like, yeah, I guess maybe like a job or something. I do want to make sure it's the right choice. Like it needs to be the right choice. And so then I need to put more emphasis on like the play and consume to like make sure that I am sure before I take the choice. Whereas what you were talking about with the consumer blast, like it's very easy for me to do like my own thing on my own time, even if I haven't started on something. Um, but I I just need to. I don't know. I'm not losing it as I'm talking, but the understanding is most important, not the actual execution.
Mm.
Naturally.
What is consuming like when you feel like you're like gathering all of that information? Like what are you doing? Are you storing it somewhere? Are you just like noticing it? How are you then piling that up?
Yeah, I'd say I'm storing it. I'm noticing it. I think there's like a negative side to consume, which is like you're just taking in, but you're not really doing anything, or nothing's really happening. But what I do like I'm doing with the consumer is that I am updating, I am growing for what I'm learning, so that like yeah, I'm not the same person I was, like 10 years ago. I think that's kind of what a little bit of what consume is doing. Like it is looking at the spectrum of people, and then well not people, but just the OE, and then updating yourself for that. And by doing that, you kind of just want to like you always want to like focus on that inner growth from an outward perspective, not necessarily like the sleep where it's like from an inward perspective.
Yeah, tell me more about that. What do you mean by when you said, updating yourself? I've heard that before as well. I don't quite understand what that means.
Yeah, I do want to make sure I say it correctly. I don't want to like
Oh,
yeah mistake the info. But
forget what it means in whatever, definitions are put out there by whatever, right?
mhm.
Like, what does it mean for you? What does it mean for you to be saying updating yourself? That's what I want to know.
Okay, all right. So some of the things I consume are usually like movies, TV shows, and music, and personality stuff. And I feel like with every new type of media or just specific thing in the media, I take it in. For me personally, I learn about the themes and the meanings behind it, like the artist's message or the movie or whatever, and then I try to see like just basically how I can learn from that, and how I can grow from that. I know, especially like with like animes, like something that like a lot of consumers enjoy, but it's a good example of something where like those kind of characters are like very just like um, they have like a journey from like the start of the first season to like the last season where they've grown as a person, and then now they've taken their journey, basically the hero's journey, and like they're more powerful now, and they're more driven, and they're more focused, and so I take those in, and I try to take it and put it in myself in my own life, and so that's why I appreciate taking in and learning about new things, and the more I can, the more I feel like I'm growing.
So, when you say you take it in, right? And
Yeah.
then you feel like you're growing, what does that what is that? What is that? Are you like using that anime example, right? Like,
Mhm.
are you saying like, oh, well, he went through that, so I can go through this, or this is changing my opinion about something?
Hmm. I don't think it's. I'm not. I don't know if it changes my opinion. Maybe it could, but I do know it's. Hmm,
Mm,
how do I?
you just go ahead. You gave me an epiphany.
Actually, you can go first. I'm still trying to process how to phrase it.
This is bad. This is bad. We're just playing into our saviors. But I the epiphany you just gave me was that oh, and now I lost it.
No.
Oh, because you said I don't know if I changed my mind. And I was realizing that like you have masculine DI, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um and I'm wondering if because I watch like I am so into like I watch like Jubilee, I watch a lot of like debates and like I love like I actively go look for things that are like outside of my um worldview, right? Like I like hearing things that are not in my worldview.
Mm-hmm. But do you do it for yourself, or do you do it so that you can present it to others later?
Yeah, I don't know why I do it, but I can tell you that like the process is I'm moving around. I can feel that I'm moving around. Oh, okay, this is how I feel now, or this is how I think now, or this is the
Mhm.
basis of my logic now, right? The way you were starting to describe it and how you deliberately said that it wasn't a moving or it wasn't a changing your mind. You're building it.
Yeah, yeah,
You're you're taking that, not letting it move you, but just adding it as another thing.
absolutely, yeah. Um,
Yeah. That's going to take a lot of practice for me.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely benefits to both. Because yeah, the feminine DI, if that is what you need at the moment, then it could definitely be the better thing. Like if you need to move immediately, whereas
Right.
it's yeah, it's harder for me to move the identity sometimes. So it does, yeah, it does kind of me being more like a stacking than a adapting, I guess, in a way.
Right. It makes it easier for you to stack it because you're not
Hmm.
just moving it, you know? It's like, yeah, yeah. Like I'm trying to build with blocks filled with air, you know, like blocks made of air,
Um,
right?
yeah, yeah. I
Especially,
mean, that's kind of how I feel when having to deliver like messages or like deliver like just that OI, because I'm not always thinking about how I could present things for other people in a very concise way. So it's
mm,
not stacking. It's like if I when I'm learning about personality systems, there's just so many things like swinging back and forth, like in all like so many different directions. That I'm not like narrow. It's difficult for me to narrow down and then send it. So that's where I'm
yeah,
struggling with the stacking.
yeah. Because that's kind of floaty for you. The tribe is floaty for you, right?
Hmm.
Is that also why, like even like I remember on like Kendrick's interview that you did was back in I think a few months ago, right? And even on that interview, you were like, you know, in the next 2 weeks, I think I'm gonna start, you know, putting out some videos about personality.
Yeah, that was yeah. He called me out. Um,
It's
there
gonna
was actually a reason for that, which was that
okay.
school was just about to
Mm,
start. If I can remember correctly, that was when I think it was that specific reason. There was a like something was just about to start. I think it was school, um, and so like the problem with like the SCNI access, or at least in my opinion, is like if we do start something, we're most likely gonna go like all the way in, or just like
mm,
really put everything in there. So like if I did start the channel, I would like have a stronger emphasis on like OP, and
mm,
I gotta be careful that like I don't put so much emphasis on OP that I'm like forgetting about my school
right.
priorities and stuff. And so that's actually why I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. But then there's also the other part. This I just thought like SC is not following through. It wasn't in that specific case because I did have school, but just in general in my life, and the people who I've talked to who are type twins, we do say stuff. like, oh, I want to try this, and just like an idea.
And then just don't.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's not because you were really serious about the idea to begin with. That's more the thing, is that you, or do you feel like maybe you're serious about the idea and then you're just like, you want to get the information right before you start blasting?
I think it's just like the idea is most important on that specific day. Um,
Mm.
but then like once you get like a good night's sleep or whatever, then it's like it might not be as important. Like something else might be more important the next day. For like for like SEs. So
Okay.
yeah, so because we just don't have that OI as much. So if we are gonna say something like we want to do something, it better be something that we see as meaningful long term, not just in the moment.
Mm.
Otherwise, it'd be
Yeah.
difficult to start.
Yeah. I really think that maybe it'll be interesting. I think that has, I think that NI and SI are very different in that way, because I definitely do have a lot of OI in my stack, right?
Mhm,
But maybe it's the double decide or double observing, but I think maybe it's the SI too, because I'll just like do the steps, right? Like I'm not necessarily trying to set my sights on something, and then
mhm,
like I'm
yeah,
just stepping one foot in front of the other so I could just turn that
yeah,
way. Like I
interesting.
don't have to you know. I mean, I have other problems, but and in fact, I was going to try to hack it and like, kind of use NI to sort of like, you know, um, like tether to something in the distance, so that like, as like, so like I was thinking like that intuition is like in the air, right? And sensory is the ground, right?
Yeah, sounds
And like
accurate.
right, and I'm looking down, following this line, like on this path, on this SI path, right? And when the NE comes at me, I fall over and then I can't see the path anymore.
Oh,
And I've been thinking about lately, can I like kind of tether to like an NI in the horizon and then be able to not have to look down at the path? Like if I'm not looking down, if I'm looking up, I might be able to see
that makes sense. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
the
It
NE
actually
coming at
could
me.
work. But yeah, Dave and Shan definitely say like to get to those kind of functions, you have to kind of combine that for you the SI and the NE in a way to create the NI.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think it. Yeah, we could just not. I mean, that's just theorizing, but I don't think we can actually just get to those other four functions. We kind of have to,
Simulate them.
yeah, simulate them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, you could get me down a path of simulations, right? Because at a certain point, like, what is real? So just,
Good
it's all
question.
symbols anyway, right?
Mm.
So I wanted to like give you a chance to ask me any questions that you have. Throw it back on me.
Yeah, I was actually just about to.
Oh,
I was gonna,
good.
yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, where do you see your demon like play and consume? Like, just the demon OE on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so the OE is not as much of a problem, right? Um Probably with the double observing thing. Um and in fact, I really love I get drained by play, right? But I really love like even the like I was talking about before like understanding different perspectives. Like I love understanding like what different people, are doing or thinking or, like
Hmm.
I even like at work, being um yeah, and it's got to be play because it's not consume. But, when I'm in that mode where I'm just like gathering from people what they need for like our dashboard or like for the solution that we're going to implement, right? Like, what's your goal? What do you want it to be? What do you want, it to look like, when we're just bouncing off ideas there. Um, it's really fun, and that feels like play to me.
Yeah, that sounds like
Like,
play.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely, yeah, the workplace would probably be like one of the best places to use play because yeah, because you do want it is a community, it's a group of people, and yes, you do want everyone's opinions to matter in some kind of way, to get a collected thought. That could just be my DE talking, but
Right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
probably, right. But
Hmm.
then the consume, I think, is really difficult because even not in OP terms, right? Like, so, like, I thought I I thought I was consuming a lot. But you know what it was is that somebody, and I don't want to mention names because I don't know, I want to be respectful. But somebody had mentioned that consuming is like going out and gathering information. It's not like how I was describing it, was like I was just sitting there and it was coming at me. And
Yeah.
somebody was like, that's not consume.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
So yeah, so actively going out and gathering, which would require me to understand what I want to go gather, right? Um,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that's difficult for me. I did find some things recently that I want to go gather,
Okay.
and I have this I have this list of,
Ooh,
like, I went on like a binge of, like, I just started googling a whole bunch of things, and I have this list of links of things I want to go read. Um,
that sounds exciting.
I don't know if that's peacocking. We'll see. Maybe I'll then put together like a time aside, or like I'll put like a goal in place, like that, like I need to read one of those things once a week or something, but it's not measurable, right? Like, I have nothing at the end to like show for it. So, like, what is it? Like,
Well,
do I like, yeah.
consume. Yeah, I don't think consume necessarily has something to show for it a lot of the times. It's just especially because you're not showing it necessarily to other people and like
Mm,
these are the results kind of thing. It really is just for you. And if you do like end up sharing it with other people, it's at least for me, it's kind of like an excitement of like, hey, look, this is something about me. Like, and then, hey, do you share this thing about me as well? And then compare things about ourselves. Instead of it being like, hey, this is something that um, people need. It's not necessarily. It's not that priority first. It's not what people need first. It's what I enjoy first, and then I can share it with other people.
what you enjoy. Yeah, because the way you described it before, like when you just said, here, hey, here's some, it's like this excitement, here's something about me.
Hmm.
I didn't understand how you were getting that from something you consumed, and then now here's something about me. That was just something that was external world that has nothing to do with you. Like, I know so that's interesting way to put it from a savior consume.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because like I have those, like lists of like shows that I really enjoy and movies and stuff, and like I could watch those like so many times, like even like by myself, But then, so this I don't have like a lesson to prepare to teach people about it. It's just for me. But then it's also like an enjoyment of like, hey, do you like this movie? I guess that could be more into play, maybe not. But do you like this thing too?
Mm,
Um, and whether they enjoy it or not, it's still something that was mine. And it's like it's fine being just my kind of thing, um, because it's something that I wanted to do for me. That's why it's mine in a way. It's still like
right?
anyone could take it, but yeah,
Like, would you consider like self-care days like a consume thing?
I would say so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, as long as it's not going, I guess, into sleep, which
Oh.
yeah, I guess it's more just organized, but yeah, it can be.
Yeah, because sleep is a demon for you as well.
Yeah.
But it's in the middle. I feel like the middle two animals are a little bit less like difficult for us,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like that with the play. I think that's another reason the play may be, okay, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. And then it
Um,
just like drops with the last animal.
right, yes, like
Yeah.
no more energy.
Mhm.
Especially for us with the energy.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, but that list sounds good. Sounds like a really good idea. A consumer savior would definitely not do it like once a week. That's way too long for us. But whatever works for you. Yeah, if it's it could be like once a
what would
week
you be
or
doing? Once a day, or
e- I mean, like,
you'd be taking that list and binging it, or no?
yeah, like I don't think I could even like create a list. Like it's just because it's consume you can just consume it just so fast. Like if I have time in my day, I'm just gonna consume. Like if I have a free time, and no one's doing
What?
anything, if people are doing stuff, then I'll just but like time for me to consume, time for me to take in and learn and grow from this information. Um,
Yeah. All right. What other questions do you have for me?
yeah, I guess the DI, the demon
Mm.
DI. Have you been able to see that in yourself? Because
Yeah, I
I
have.
think you type yourself as a
I-
ENFP, like
Um,
a DI
I
ENFP
I
or a
I
DE.
had gone there, but I was like, I had myself for a while as some sort of an IP, you know.
Hmm.
Um, but then I was like, oh, maybe I'm EP, but then I didn't think I was that cool to be an EP. I think EPs are really cool. Um, uh, so funny. I did everything I could not to like, go to EJ. Um,
That's just how the brain works.
that's how the brain works.
Hmm.
Um, no, but I've been seeing it a lot lately. Um, it makes a ton of sense. I mean, I was ready to die on the hill until I was told otherwise that like I am really selfish. um, it's not just what I'm thinking. Um, but I think in a way too, I think it's tough with that sleep savior, right? Because I do definitely have a high pull to self update, right? Um,
Yeah,
but it's that doing for self that, you know, yeah, yeah, it's really, um, I really gotta start talking to, it's gonna sound wooey, right? But like, it's almost like sometimes I feel like the universe speaks through me. Like sometimes when I'm in a conversation with somebody and I have this thing where the universe speaks through me and I give like this advice that like I'm like, where did that come from? And a lot of times I hear it and I need to hear it.
okay, yeah,
and um and I feel I need to do that more actively with myself, right? Like
hmm,
I need to protect that little baby DI in the same way that I feel so strongly that I need to protect, the underdogs,
yeah, exactly,
you
yeah,
know?
hmm,
That's how I'm seeing it lately.
yeah. That's really good. Yeah, yeah. I think DI for like any DE is just it's really important because like, our brains are connected to ourselves, not like the brains. We don't like even though we constantly thinking about the entire tribe. It's like our brains are only in our own bodies, so we do need to put in some kind of just more importance in a way for ourselves than others, even if it feels weird.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about your GI? Even though it's missing in your animal stack, right? Kind of.
Um, it's
Um,
something I consume, um, and so it's actually like it's really really emphasized, I guess, or prioritized in a way because it's masculine where my TE is feminine, and it's double activated, where my TE is single activated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in my consume and my sleep together, basically in the middle. So there is a lot of emphasis on the FI, the DI, and so I do constantly feel like just a very like the middleman in terms of like I can see the DI what they're doing and the DEs and what they're doing,
Yeah.
and I'm just kind of that person in the middle that it's like, especially with feminine play, I'm the kind of person that like will be aware of the tribe and kind of help out, but then suddenly like pulled back into their own world the second, like the moment that like the tribe isn't there, and then like and I do find like a very like extreme importance in like improving on self and stacking on self, even if it's not everyone agrees with it. I do want that DI to be safe and protected.
Oh, right. You're not the one who has it missing. I'm the one who has it missing. I had that backwards. You don't have it missing at all. It's in the middle, in your middle two animals. What am I
Yeah,
thinking?
I mean I'm still DE, but yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Plus, you're a double decider, so that's gonna help
Yeah,
too,
makes
right?
it easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like the most DI DE.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
hmm
And you're right as far as the ambivert, right? Like in the scale, we're both kind of in that juicy middle a little bit.
hmm
Well, this was once we got into it, I felt like this was easier than I was expecting it to
Yeah,
be. I
it
was very
was.
nervous. Thank you for
Of
being my first.
course, of course.
But
Yeah, I
did
had a
you
great time. I think it went really well.
yeah. Do you have any parting thoughts? Anything you want to say for perpetuity?
Ooh. I just want to say we're all in this together, and like we got this. Like I feel like you've taken some steps in your and you consume. I'm taking steps in my sleep and my blast. We've shown awareness, and we're taking some steps. So I think we both got this as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think this was really good to just talk.
Yeah. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah,
Give an
sounds good.
update. All right.
Mhm.
Talk to you later, Adrian.
Nice talking to you, Kelly. Bye.
Bye.